All right, we're going to work on estimating quotients today. And we're going to start with a fairly small number. I just want to kind of get the process down for you so you can see what to do. So let's say we had 82, and 82 is divided by 6. What I've taught the kids to do is just to look at the first digit here in the dividend, in the number that's inside the little sign. And then look at the divisor and ask yourself, is this number outside smaller than that number that's inside that first digit? And it is. And if it is, I want them to draw a box around that first digit and say, well, about how many groups of 6 would go into 8? And I can go over. So we think about our multiples of 6. 1 times 6 equals 6. 2 times 6 equals 12. And I can see that really these are my only two choices. And 6 is only 2 away from 8. 12 would be 4, so my answer there is going to be 1. If there's a number outside the box still, for every digit that's outside the box, I'm going to put a 0. And I see there's one number, one digit outside the box, so I'm going to put 10. And so a good estimate of 82 divided by 6 would be about 10. Not perfect, but it's good enough for what we're doing right now. Let's try another one real quickly. Erasing as best we can. Things slide around on the table. Okay, so let's say we had this number, 43 divided by 7. We're going to follow the same procedure. And when we compare the 7 and the 4, I can see that 7 is larger than 4. So I'm going to need to draw my box around both digits this time. And I'm going to need to say, okay, about how many groups of 7 can I take out of 43? Now, if I know my multiples of 7 really well, then I'm not going to need to do anything other than think about what's close to 43. And it can be above 43, that's fine, because we're just estimating. But if I don't know my multiples, I'm either going to need a multiplication chart to go down my 7s and get as close as I can, or I'm just going to need to make a list of my multiples and say 1 times 7 equals 7. 2 times 7 equals 14, 3 times 7 equals 21. 4 times 7 equals 28. 5 times 7 equals 35. 6 times 7 equals 42. And 7 times 7 equals 49. And I can see I'm pretty close there. 43 and 42 are just one apart, so I'm not going to do any better than that. So right there, that's going to be my answer. So I would put my 6 right up there for the quotient, or the estimated quotient, and I'd say that 43 divided by 7 is about 6. Let's look at another one. Okay, let's do a bigger number this time. 581, and we're going to divide 581 by, let's say, 3. All right, I'm going to compare these numbers again, and I see that 3 is less than 5. So I can draw my box around this first number because this divisor is less than the 5. So I know, just from thinking about my multiples of 3, I know 1 times 3 is 3, 2 times 3 is 6. 6 is going to be the closest, so I'm going to go ahead and put my 2 up here. And then I see 2 digits this time outside of the box, so 200. So 200 or 581 divided by 3 is about 200. We'll do one more, and then I won't bore you anymore with samples of estimating quotients. Let's do 429, and we will divide it by 5. When I compare these first two numbers, I see 5 is larger than 4, so I'm going to need to look at 2 digits, 2 place values here. Okay, and so I'm going to go through the process of saying what multiple of 5 gets me as close to 42 as I can, and yes, I can go over. And so I'm just going to list my multiples, which again, you don't have to do. If you know your multiples really well, you don't have to go through the process of doing this, and some people know them pretty well. And if you have a multiplication chart, you can use. You can do it. 4 times 5 equals 20. 5 times 5, equals 25. 6 times 5 equals 30. 7 times 5 equals 35. 8 times 5 equals 40. I know I'm getting close. And 9 times 5 equals 45. So these two right here, 40 and 45, kind of bracket this number. So if I look at 40, 40 is 2 less. That's pretty good. 45 is 3 less, but your best bet is going to be 8 times 5, which is 40. So I'm going to go ahead and put my 8 up there above the 2. And then I see there's one digit left. That's going to be a 0 right there. So 429 divided by 5 is about 80. Not exact, but about. So hopefully this helps you understand estimating quotients a little better.